here for it. But the first concept I wanted to talk about a little bit, and this is out of everything I say, this is the most up to you thing because it depends on like what your priorities are. And interrupt me if was saying this the last time because I don't recall if I went over this last time. But when it comes to your gameplay, my recommendation, take it or leave it, because it kind of depends on your goals. If your goals for the game are to win games, to climb in rank, to improve at the game, then you may do that faster if you're not spreading your hero pool really thin, especially across. It can be across multiple too many characters, but also across too many roles as well. Every character and every role has very big differences between them. There are similarities, but also big differences of you're gonna have different abilities and ultimates and different play styles, different mechanics, different things to worry about and pay attention to. And when you play all three different roles, well, then you're going to two things. Firstly, you're going to be climbing slower because if you, for example, if you are now, let's say you're in silver right now. Let's say you're good enough to be a gold player. Well, now you're slowly trudging upwards over three different roles rather than going upwards across one role. So it'll be faster climbing. The other thing is it'll be faster improvement because if you focus on one role, you are going to have much more time on each character to learn their specifics of how they operate and play. And that's also not to say that you never play any other characters. Like it's more of a focused priority. So maybe instead of doing 30% on each character or 33% on each role, you would do more like 80% on one role, and then maybe 20% for times where you're just having fun or playing with friends, or maybe you're just not on a great streak, so you're going and playing on your other roles. That sort of idea. So that might be my recommendation: is limiting your hero pool minorly, and that way you're able to improve at a faster rate. It's not impossible to improve with that many roles and characters. It's just like it's a minor handicap that will slow down your improvement speed. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, got you. Okay, yeah, I'll take it. I won't leave it. I got you. So
Yep.
I'll just start focusing on Tracer,
Yeah.
which I have been focusing on her. Don't get me wrong. Like I've played with Tracer a lot.
hmm And it doesn't.
So
And it's up to you. It doesn't need to be one character. Depending on how much like time. Can you remind me like how much time do you usually put in like on a weekly basis?
I wish there was a way to track that on here. But okay, so like get up at if I go to work at 6 a.m., right? From the
hmm
moment I get off till basically I go to bed, I'll be playing Overwatch. Unless I'm having a bad day, then I'll go get on something
hmm
else for a little bit. But then I always get back on. You know what I mean? So when I'm not
Yep.
at work or I'm not at the gym, like doing kickboxing, um, basically playing Overwatch.
Mhm. So
Unless
that
I'm, playing something else. But usually I spend 90% of my gaming time is spent on Overwatch, and then the 10%
gotcha.
is messing around on other
So
stuff.
probably up there in hours. So maybe like per day, you're getting up to what, like 5, 7, something like that hours, or is that about right? Or
Possibly, yeah. I have here. I couldn't even.
yeah, it doesn't need to be exact, but when you're getting that many hours, that's you can afford a slightly larger hero pool, but once again, you might want to be more so like on the one role. So like for example, you could probably learn like 3, maybe 4 characters on DPS. That would be fine. That gives you a bit more diversity on your role. It's just gonna be even more difficult if you're trying to go cross role. And then, especially if you're going cross rolls and then learning multiple characters on every single roll, it just becomes a bit more complex. And then, yeah, so that's something to just think about and whatnot.
Okay, got you. Yeah, since the game has come out, I have 145 hours played.
Gotcha.
47 on 47 on Tracer, 12 on Zarya, 11 on Kiriko, 9 on Torb, 7 on Bap, 6 on Ana, or 6 on Winston, and then 4 on Ana.
Yeah, so it sounds like within DP you don't really have too many other DPS characters that you play besides Tracer. It
Yeah,
may
no,
be
I play a little bit of Soldier if I get
mhm,
bored or something. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But
So That's honestly like one tricking is not terrible, right? It's something that people do, and people get to like, top of 100 one tricking. There's many one tricks at top of 100, and Tracer's not a bad character to do that on. She's pretty flexible, but that's just kind of up to you and what you want your playstyle to be. Um, if you are if you like to play other characters, play other characters. It might be a bit easier because it fills in some of the gaps of like it. Let's say somebody else picks Tracer. Let's say somebody, or let's say Tracer's now one of the worst characters in the game. Let's say that Tracer, I don't know. Let's say just Tracer's not good in the situation because they're running a composition that has a lot of tanking and stunning. And then therefore you might want to consider picking up some, maybe one or two other characters that can deal with those situations. So that's just some ideas to throw around. But once again, that
Okay.
it's not a hard and fast science, and it depends on like what do you have fun doing. Don't force yourself to play things and do things that you dislike or don't enjoy.
Right. Okay, I got you. Cause I figured like I needed to do like one hero in every role, and I don't know where I got that thought from, but I was like, that'd be pretty useful if I could
Yeah.
play all three and just have one person in all three.
Yeah, and you don't need to necessarily like you can as you get better in the one role, you'll naturally get better in the other roles as well because there are a lot of things that are translatable. Just make sure that the only the only thing is just don't be oblivious to how other roles are supposed to play and like make sure you know all of the cooldowns and the abilities and the ultimates and things like that because that's you can't be unknowledgeable about like, oh, this character does that thing. And then you want to make sure as well that you have a general understanding of like this character does that, this character does that. But you can get that knowledge from it doesn't necessarily have to come from playtime. You can get that from watching videos. You can get that from experimenting a bit with them in practice in practice range and things like that. You can get it from just watching how people play in your games. Um, Things like that, watching streamers. So you can get it from observing and tinkering. It doesn't necessarily have to come with raw gameplay time. But like I said, it's also not that you shouldn't ever play those other roles, but it's just more of a priority thing. Feel free to put some time in on those other characters, just not all your time, right? That sort of thing.
Got you. I think too, like, okay, so I, if you would be honest with you, I do not like playing tank.
Yeah.
It's not something I like to do. I do like Winston's character. I just like his character. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like his
Yeah.
persons. But I have fun in with Tracer, and then obviously like support like Kiriko
Yeah.
or BAP or that. Like that's actually Tracer, and like between those three supports, that's like fun to me.
Yeah, and if you don't have fun doing something, don't do it, right? It's you're as long as you understand tank well enough to play, to where you could theoretically play it or know how to play against it, that's fine enough, right? There's plenty of like one trick players who you can go to top 500 and check out different and like go to somebody in top 500 and click on and look for profiles where it says this person only played one character and one character only this season. And click on the profile, and you'll find people who have literally like 4,000 hours on one character, and then their next highest played is maybe like 100 hours, and they're in top 500.
Yeah, there's like somebody who's like 13th in the world or something like that. Cause I watched Flat stream and he was
Yeah,
just talking about that. He was like, I watch. He was like, there's like somebody who's like number 13 in the world and he only plays Junkrat
yeah,
only.
hmm yep, exactly. So
I can't
that's so it's
stand
it's
Junkrat.
possible. All right. Why don't we get started? It'll just be a minute or so. I'm looking for something to talk about.
Okay, gotcha.
One. Attackers incoming. Defend objective.
So there we probably, I mean, obviously Diva would be shred pretty fast, but if we're trying to finish off Doomfist, maybe look to try to get around Diva, potentially using more blinks. So if Diva's in the way, we blink to the side again, and that gets us around the Diva. And then we also could just blink past her here, and then that's a pretty easy finish on the Doomfist. I'd probably say that's the better option because it guarantees the kill on the Doomfist because he's so low on HP. And then our team might be able to finish Diva without us. And then that's potentially 2 kills rather than letting Doomfist get away and it being 1 kill. Makes sense?
Yeah, got you.
So kind of just staying on target there. Okay. I guess we'll mention in a minute. Watch Bastion's HP here, because we could potentially be meleeing to finish off there if we're close enough. I believe either he'd survive with like 1 HP there. I believe he's below 30. So melee does 30 damage. Bastion's he's at 36. Okay, so melee would be like 8. He'd have 6 HP left. But that might be a way to finish him off. Potentially, even sometimes if you needed 2 melees, that might be faster and easier than trying to reload and then shoot him. And then that way we can finish him off, but that's fine as well. But just throwing out that idea for meleeing.
Yeah, I have this habit of trying to like when I'm gonna melee, I have this habit of trying to shoot and then melee.
Yeah.
Objective A captured. Escort the
I got scared of his hook, so I wasted a blink.
Yeah, that'll be the sort of thing that you'll get better at predicting. Uh-oh. So here we kind of are a bit on the open. What's the main issue here? Why do we die? Because obviously dying's bad, and we want to look to try to think through why we die. What's like? I mean, quite bluntly, who killed us here?
Sombra.
Sombra, right? Sombra's the one who hacked us. Sombra's the one who killed us. Hack stopped us from getting away. Does it seem like we were like what? Were we aware that Sombra was there?
No, and I stretched out
Hmm.
really far. My team isn't even over here. I
Yeah.
was just trying to get I got greedy. I was trying to get the pick on Mercy because she's probably the easiest kill for me to get, and
Yeah.
she can be a game changer. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I personally feel like she's such a game changer when she's out there with her revive and
Yeah. No,
you know what I mean.
Mercy's
So like,
looking at their team comp, Mercy's definitely the character to go for here, right? Yeah, Mercy, especially this is open queue, yeah.
yeah,
Mercy is definitely the character to go for because she's also the solo healer on their team, so they're not gonna have any heals if we take out Mercy. She's also the easiest character to take out, so 100% Mercy is who you want to go for. I don't know if this isn't like too far overextended. If you start to feel pressured, we can get out decently easily, right? Like we can go to the side and go high ground, go low ground. We can just triple blink back to our team. It's maybe slightly far forwards. The main thing is that we don't know that Sombra's there. We have a lack of awareness. I think they just swapped Sombra, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if they had that first fight. Maybe they did have that first fight, but I don't think
I
so.
don't think so. I don't
Yeah.
think so.
So, that could be make sure that you press, now I don't actually remember what the button is on console, but it's the tab where he pulls up the overlay, right? And you get to see, what characters they're on and whatnot. Press that once between every single fight of the game, right? And that's a minimum. That's because you need to be able to see, did they swap characters? Because team comp dictates play style. You play differently if you know they're on different characters, and you play differently if your team's on different characters. And so that's important to keep track of, as well as like ultimates on your team as well. And here we just didn't know they swapped Sombra, so make sure paying attention to that. If you know they're on Sombra, gotta be watchful and wary of the hack. And looking to here as well, notice around the open. So using cover here could be helpful. Um, Blink can sometimes cancel hack, sometimes not. Sometimes it tracks it through blink, sometimes it doesn't. But you can try to blink or recall out of hack as well as an option, because that's an instant cancel button. Okay. Okay, so it looks like there's still that habit of the blink mail, sorry, the blink recall from last time. Just keeping our eye on that, and then also noting here, make sure like just watching our danger level of how much danger are we in? Are we low? Are we being shot at? How many people are shooting at us? Are they using abilities or ultimates? So right here when we recall, okay, and we blink over to the side, okay, how many people are looking at you and shooting at you?
Nobody.
Nobody. Or maybe it looks like one tracer,
Oh
and that's
yeah, there
it.
was a tracer.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Abilities, ultimates on you, like anything dangerous.
No,
No. What's your health bar at?
like 150. Yeah. Okay, I have
Yeah.
full health.
Full health. And then we press the button, right? So you just got to think through that, because that just ends up being a waste of the ability when it doesn't really do anything. Not in danger, not low, not nothing. The primary usage, not the only usage, but the primary usage of recall is to escape danger, right? And here we just use it when we're not in danger, and then therefore it doesn't really do too much. Nice.
I played enough to have my guns on gold, so I have gold guns now.
Nice. Uh-oh, so let's rewatch this for a second. Okay, so we're coming in. We see Doomfist. Okay, we're going past. We're looking around for Mercy. It looks like we kind of got lost here for a second, where we don't really know where Mercy went. So we blink in. We blink past Mercy. We do a 360. We see the beam. We're trying to find Mercy. We finally find her. So we're there. We kind of doing some 360s trying to find her. And then the issue is that we kind of flick to the left here. With it, Mercy's on the right. So couple things there, right? Firstly, make sure that you're just trying to get right up on top of Mercy, right? I think we talked about that last time with Tracer. Look to make sure that there's just minimal distance between you, and that'll make it easier. Other thing is make sure you're generally looking in their direction to begin with. Third thing would be watch their movement, right? So watch Mercy's movement, and is she going to the right? Is she going to the left? Not just where is she currently moving, but where do you think that she's going to be moving? Some of this might get into some like psychological stuff of like, okay, where is she likely to run? She might be likely to try to fly to Doomfist here, right? Or go to the right and then fly to Doomfist or something like that, right? Because Doomfist is the only person she can fly to here. So those are just a couple ideas. The last thing is you don't want to and this kind of comes to flicking. Now, flicking, I'm not even sure. Are you familiar with that term? I'm not even sure if that's like
Yeah.
console yeah, okay. It's not something I would say as common on console, because you can't do snap movements as much as PC, but flicking essentially is just anytime your crosshair needs to go from point A to point B very, very fast, right? And that's not
Hmm.
always a bad thing, and it's not always a good thing. It's same thing as like tracking and staying on top of somebody. It has its advantages and disadvantages. So let's go over when it is necessary. Well, let's say you have a tracer blinking around you, right? And she blinks behind you. Well, you have to flick to catch up to her. You can't really just, do this. You can't really track that very easily. Let's say
Right.
someone sneaks up behind you, then you're gonna have to flick around. Let's say you kill Mercy here, and now you're acquiring a new target. You might flick over to Doomfist because you're trying to reacquire that new target as fast as possible. Flicking is fine in those situations. When flicking is not necessary, is against targets where none of those apply, where they're not moving fast, where they're kind of just standing there and you're looking straight at them. So pay attention to this situation. where we come in, we find Mercy. Mercy's not doing any crazy movement here. And we find her, and we're looking pretty much straight at her, and then we just carry off and go that way, right? Look at that. That was a pretty jarring movement. So that's a flick right there, right? We look in a Mercy, and then we go pop right off to the side. So watch unnecessary flicks where flicks aren't gonna do anything. Look to use them when they are gonna do stuff, but then also be careful not to do it when it's not needed, right? When we're just right on top of the Mercy. Makes sense.
Yeah, got you. For sure.
Okay. Once again, recalling when maybe not like uber needed, right? Kind of look. Yeah, we're getting shot at by Bash, but we also have, he's not. I don't think he was looking at us there, and we weren't getting shot at yet. We also had a blink, so potentially not needing to use recall as of yet. So we gotta just watch that. That's annoying. Oh, that Doomfist has. Oh man, that's honestly that's such a bad ability. Like that doesn't have. You can't really. There's no counterplay to that. Like that doesn't feel good when you're behind your shields and tanks, and you're like 5-7 meters away from where he's actually punched, and then you're still flying into a wall.
Yeah.
That's really that's annoying. Yep, good job catching up the Bastion there. Good kills. Oh, that's our good recall right there. 3 HP is danger.
Yeah, no, for sure. If I got sneezed on, I would die.
Yep. Here, not sure because you're a newer player, right? So you've started just playing with Overwatch 2, yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you probably don't know a lot of the spots, but you can actually climb up this wall right here. So if you go and stand on the little robot head, and then you jump onto this little stone thingy-mabob on the side, then from the side stone you hop onto this stone right here, and then you can just walk your way up onto this high ground. So now you have access to this whole high ground rafters here. So this is going to be somewhere you can get on any characters. I don't think tanks can do it because they are a little too fat for some and that's going to apply to some parkour areas, but any squishy character can parkour their way up here, and that would be handy to begin with because we can kind of just like, imagine Mercy's walking through and you just go da 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 in their head, and then people start shooting at you and you just go above their head, and you're like, okay, now they can't do anything, right? That sort of thing. So that's just a good high ground angle as an option for them trying to recontest. Also, potentially another even easier than that, if you have cart here, what can we do off cart?
You can just jump off the cart, blink to the ledge,
Yeah, you
and then
just jump and blink, and you're up here just fine as well. So just throwing out ideas. Was that Doomfist strike that
yeah,
slowed you?
yeah.
Is that benefiting? Maybe I'm not playing against enough Doomfists to get that, but it has that because that felt like a really long slow. Huh. Okay, well I guess Doomfist strike slows now. The more you know. Now in the repertoire. Okay. Watch walking in straight lines. So notice here how we kind of just like walk straight backwards instead of doing zigzags when someone's shooting at us. So we're just holding the backwards joystick. So move left and right. Did we talk about movement at all last time or not really?
Yeah, we did.
We did. Okay. So left, right, mix it up. Be random, but then also just make sure you're not doing it too fast. Don't do it too slow, and don't walk in straight lines. Don't like just run straight forwards. Don't walk straight back. Don't walk straight left. Don't walk straight right. You wanna add in, add abnor. How do you say this? You wanna make it more randomized so randomized so that when people are trying to shoot you, it's more difficult, right? Rather than if we're just walking in a straight line, well, it's very easy to shoot at. So there, we kind of just get shredded because we're just inching in that straight line, and yeah, not much we can do. Alright, watch this. You can just use all your blinks when you're coming back from spawn. You just want to be getting back to the fight as soon as possible, because notice how we'll get the blink back and then we'll wait, and then so it's actually we're getting back to the fight slower than we potentially could be. So I just when you're coming back to the fight, unless the fight's really close to your spawn, use all your blinks up, and then maybe try to be coming into the fight with like 2 blinks or so. Then you can
Okay.
start holding on to it. You want to be coming in with 2 to 3. Good decision not to go in. Okay. What did we discuss last time was your range as Tracer? Now, actually, I don't know if this was last time that we discussed it. I think, yeah, I think last time we went over it.
Yeah, he was really confused because he was like, outside of this, you're not gonna do any damage, and then you like took like 8 steps back, and then he still was one clipping, and then
Yeah.
he took another step back, and he was like, okay, well, this is where her fall off damage is, I guess.
Yeah, so that is actually, yeah, so it's actually bugged. It's something that they either tweaked intentionally or an accident that was not in Overwatch 1, and they actually did not include in the patch notes. In Overwatch 1, her fall off range began at, I believe, 12 or 13 meters away. I think it's probably like 12 meters away from the enemy team. But then in right now, fall off does not begin until 20 meters, which is different.
Yeah, right.
And like, 4
Three
clipping.
clipping.
Yeah, 3 or 4
Yeah.
clipping. So it's a massive difference. So we discussed that last time. Right now, currently, and this is in a
Um, I don't know how many meters that would be considered.
simplified to further than 20 meters, right?
Yeah, yeah. Mm,
The fact that there's no cover down main. So this is what you would call, I don't think we talked about this last time, but this is what you call a no man's land right here. Any long stretch of space without any cover. So when you follow the payload path, the whole payload path is essentially a no man's land. So no man's land, this is a choke point, a little funnel area that is tight that forces your whole team to walk through. So a choke, no man's land, 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 right? So this whole area is that. Now, if you don't want to have to walk through that wide open area and you have another option that just kind of bypasses it, then take the option that bypasses it.
okay. Yeah. No, 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 no. I got you.
Okay. Yeah, so left side would have been the better option, but we do have the Kiriko ult here, so this is perfectly fine to be coming down main now. Okay.
Everything moves so fast in her ult that I get lost.
Yep. All right. Bastion gets a lift up in the air. Where's Bastion gonna slam?
On the ground?
On the ground. I mean, it's a pretty simple answer. Directly below where he is currently,
Like,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The other question. What's Bastion in right now?
In ultimate.
In
Oh,
ultimate.
he's in turn mode. He's in turn mode. Yeah.
Yeah, well, he's in his like ultimate turret mode because you just heard the nuclear alarms and he's firing up in the air. Um, can Bastion move while he's doing that?
No.
Can any character move the moment that they're slammed into the ground?
No.
No, because they have this little stun phase, right? They get slammed and they're stuck for a second and then they move, right? So what do we got at the bottom? Oh, what do we got at the bottom of the bottom of our screen here now?
A post bomb. So I can
Pulse
throw the
bomb.
post bomb down.
Yeah, so we can, or rather than throwing it down, we look down. So this is what you call pre-aiming, right? We look straight forwards here, right where Bastion's going to slam to the ground. We blink forwards so that we're ready for him to slam down. And then the moment that he's slamming into the ground, we're pulsing him because we know where he's going to be. It's predictable. He's not going to be out. He's not going to move out of the way. So it means that we're going to be able to get a very easy pulse bomb on him, right? Then we burst all his health down. He's actually, unless he's, so he's not going to be able to tank it because he's going to be half HP from the Sigma Flux, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's just that. Does that all make sense? That's an easy idea of a way to combo, and you can do that with any character that's being fluxed up in the air. Bastion's just going to be a tad bit easier here because he's not going to be moving anyways once he does slam because he's ulting.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh. And then we gotta make sure keeping our eyes and ears open, watching for the hog. Because he kind of just like walks up on top of us. Yeah, right now I just want to be regrouping. Uh-oh. Because let's take a look.
Two v 2v4. Okay. Because our team is still coming back from spawn, and their spawn is a lot closer than our spawn.
And you gotta make sure you're keeping your eyes out for other advantages and disadvantages. And whatnot, because those can play a big factor, right? Last time did we go over watching kill feed and how to manage and tell whether or not you've won or lost fights?
Yeah, and
Mhm.
you had me set the sounds up in
Yep,
my setting.
gotcha. So this is just like an extra step on top of that. Of There's a lot of, and I don't know if we went over that extra step last time, the advanced part, but there's just a lot of other things that go into it, right? Who has more health? Which team has more health? Which team has more abilities and ultimates? And which team has better spawns? And which team has better positioning? And which team just like is more grouped up and in sync, right? That sort of thing. We have a lot of other things. And sometimes those can be really big advantages. Sometimes they can be minor, and then and it's the multiple minors that make it a big advantage, right?
Right.
That sort of thing. So there are things to pay attention to. The general rule is that we remember the numbers we said last time. We said 1 to 2 is an advantage or a disadvantage. 2 to 3 is a won or lost fight. Two is usually the middleman because those advantages will come into play. So if let's say that you guys are down two, so let's say it's a 4v2 here, right? But if you guys, the two of you, have a massive advantage, like let's say everybody on their team's 1 HP, well, then that's still winnable, right? You might be able to get that if they're all that low. That's a big advantage, and you might be able to win off of that. Or if you have a big ultimate combo, maybe. But if you don't have another major advantage, that's just a one fight for them, because with no other major advantage, they just have too many players.
Okay.
And then the other thing is that it's like that's the general rule, the 1 to 2, 2 to 3, and 2 being the middleman. That's the general rule. But like I said before, the other advantages can have even bigger effects. Like the other advantages can have massive effects. Like you could be 2v5 and still be able to win it if their entire team is in a grab and you have a dragon in it and they don't have any other abilities to get out and they're all 1 HP, right? Like there will be situations where advantages are really big advantages. Now here, actually I don't think this is impossible. This is doable. I think your Moira also killed Tracer. That's probably who you saw before. So you guys actually got 2 kills here. So it was a 4v2 and then you guys got 2 kills. Right? So that actually flipped that back around. Now it's a 2v2. This is probably in the territory where I would still fight this. This is maybe winnable. This is like, at this point in the fight, this is now a like, maybe like 40% chance of winning, right? Like something like that. That we're still more likely to lose, but we can maybe do it. Uh-oh, not when that happens.
Yeah.
The dead ought to remain so.
Go through castle. Castle's faster. It's the difference between going straight to point and doing a long curve around to point, right? You're going to be getting there much faster. So go through castle. Okay, seems like we're still kind of getting lost in like where people are. So notice how like we're coming in, we're shooting a hog, then Tracer's behind us. She pulls the Sigma. They kind of like went right over her head there, and then we see Tracer, and we're like going, "Oh, where's Tracer at?" And we like turn around, and then we turn back. We go, "Oh, there's Tracer." Then we start shooting at Tracer. She blinks to the side. We look at her. Okay, now we finally got her, and then she blinks off the map, and she dies, and we see her in kill feed, right? And we hear her go, "Ah!" in the voice chat, or in the just the game, right? And yet look how we are still looking around, like where'd she go?
Yeah, I don't know what I was doing. I think I just had to be sure.
Yep.
I think I thought there was somebody over there, to be honest.
Oh, another person.
Yeah.
Okay. Watch the blink recall potentially here. Also recalling where blink can suffice maybe as well as another thing. Look at our distance from them currently. Right? Is this a won or lost fight?
This is one fight. There's what, 2 of them? Or are they all there?
3 of them.
We're really spread apart.
Even-ish, right? It's not. This isn't won or lost at this point.
Yeah.
What's our current danger level at?
0.
0. So the question now is, why are we hanging so far back? Right?
I don't know.
Why are we're pulled like, this is definitely outside of our 20 meters, right? This is like back at like 40 to 50 meters, right? This is really far outside of our range. So we're just going to be tickling people, right? We're just tickling bashing. So now we blink back in, but it's just a little bit delayed. We just spend a lot of time out of the fight, right? So we blink out here and then we walk around. So this is like 1, so this is like 4, 5, 6. So like 6 seconds before we get back in range. So it's just a little bit of downtime outside of the fight. So that's make sure we're in the fight doing things when the fight's happening. And then once again, we kind of blink outside of our range again. So just be a bit careful about that. Stay in range and then use things like cover or just blinking, out of the damage. Okay. Last time, did we talk about cross replacement?
Yeah, yeah. We talked about how it needs to be in my head.
Yep,
I've
yep.
been practicing it, but sometimes I kind of forget. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. And that's something, it's just habits, right? It's the forming of habits. So do you recall last time? I'm scrolling up because yes, I did do notes for you and we did go over it. But just as that reminder, make sure that when you're applying things that you're really focusing in on them, right? That you're putting attention and effort, that you're not overwhelming yourself with too many things, but that you are looking to work on one category or 1 to 3 smaller things within a category. And then once you do that, you'll form it as a habit and then move on from there. Here's just an example. Look, we're looking at his knees. Right, we turn around and we're still looking at his not nowhere at his back. So we want to just make sure we're aiming up a little bit more here.
Okay,
Um,
gotcha.
One other thing of note when it comes to improvement is that you can work on multiple things if they don't overlap, if they don't have overlap within them. So that would be as examples of that. The easiest example, there are other ones. It's just not as obvious of examples. The easiest example is like your ultimate, right? And then we can compare it to like something like awareness. Throughout your game, how often will you need to be aware of your surroundings?
Probably anytime I'm in a fight. Oh, a lot.
Or I mean, like just or the answer would just be all the time, like
Yeah.
pretty much your entire game. Right, you'll need to be aware of your surroundings because even outside of fights, you want to be aware of. Okay, did they swap characters? Did we swap characters? What ults do we have? What can we do for the next fight? Where can I be? Like what is happening? Do they have anybody lagging behind? So there's still things to be aware about even in between fights, right? And then especially during fights, right? Now
hmm
ultimates. How often will you be thinking about your ultimate when you're playing the game?
Um,
Or like just the simpler question, how often do you get your ultimate in the game?
Actually, I get quite a lot with
Mhm.
Tracer.
Yeah. So if you
Um,
so is it every 10 seconds? Is it every, 10 minutes?
um, I don't know actually how long it is. It fluctuates, I guess.
Yeah.
You know,
Tracer's a bit faster of an ult charge, so maybe it'd be about like unless, barring situations where you do a ton or you do nothing. Let's say on average maybe about a minute and a half. Right?
okay,
For most characters, most ultimates maybe are more like 2 minutes, right?
right.
So Tracer just gets it a tad bit faster. Um, so if you're getting it every minute and a half, once you get your ultimate, how long from seeing I have ults to using it should there be? Like how much time or do you need to be applying it, right, and going and using it?
Maybe like 45 seconds.
45 seconds. Okay, that might honestly be a bit too long if it's taking 45 seconds, unless you're noticing it like outside of the fight, and you're just and you're saying like, okay, I have to walk into the fight and then set it up, right? But if let's say the fight already started, from the time you're noticing, oh, I have pulse bomb to the time that you're using pulse bomb, a lot of times it should be more like like 10-20 seconds, right? So you're thinking about it every for 15 seconds every minute and a half, which is not nearly as much in comparison to all the game when we're talking about awareness, right? So do those two like overlap a ton?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I would say not as much as some other things, right? Like positioning. How often are you positioning throughout the game?
Um, I don't know actually. I feel like I don't know if not too well this game
Mm,
because I'm getting really far out. You know what I mean?
How often should you be positioning throughout your game? Like how
All
often
the
does
time.
position? Yeah, all the time. Positioning is something that is a constant. You're constantly standing somewhere, right? So therefore, that somewhere should be the best spot, right?
That will give me the advantage.
Yeah. Um, abilities. How often do you use abilities throughout the game? Like blink. Let's just think blink. How often are
Oh,
you using blink?
basically the whole game.
Basically the whole game. Okay, so those things are all happening simultaneously. Whereas ultimates are just happening, once for a couple, for a dozen seconds every couple minutes, right? So, therefore, you could potentially do both ultimate usage, focus on both ultimates, and focus on something else like awareness or like positioning, right? Because they don't have as much overlap as the other ones do. Whereas it would be way too overwhelming to try to do ability usage and positioning and awareness, just because that's way too much and they overlap too much. Whereas ultimate
Oh,
usage doesn't overlap with them as much because you can be spending, 90% of your game or 80% of your game thinking about awareness and then the other 20% on ult usage. And then it doesn't really pull too much away from one or the other. Make sense?
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's just another thing to be thinking about here. Flying pigs. Okay, make sure that when you're in Kiriko's ult, and I've noticed this even sometimes when we're not in Kiriko's ult, sometimes we'll just hold down our left click when we're not really even aiming in the general direction of people. So notice this in Kiriko's ult, it's kind of it's amplified because of the speed of our shots and our reloading. But notice how we go reload, and then we start shooting at the wall there, right? And our crosshair is like, look how far away our crosshair is from the nearest person, and yet we're holding down our shoot button. So that means that by the time we're looking at the Mei and we're actually on top of Mei, we're reloading, right?
Right. Yeah. And when every time she pops out, I get really excited. I'm like, okay, just start shooting. And
Yep.
see, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. So instead put a pause on it and only shoot if you're actually aiming in the general direction of somebody, right?
right.
um,
Okay, I got you.
and then we'll also do that sometimes even outside of her ultimate, where we'll kind of just get into like a habit of just holding down the button, and then we don't, and then we'll shoot off into a wall, and then we reload, and then we could have been either holding on to those bullets or reloading earlier or just having them for when we shoot at somebody. So like it's kind of just not useful. So
Yeah, got you.
look, so here again we kind of like, so there we shoot at her. Okay. Let's see. We recall here once again, like kind of like we recall for like 7 HP. Watch your health bar. Watch your danger level. Probably not a necessary recall. So we've noticed a lot of situations where we use recall unnecessarily, and that means that we don't have it for when we need it. Okay. So here, maybe want to get healed. We're a little bit low. We blink in. We maybe misjudge blink a hair. Uh-oh. We waste another blink. And we get her. Yeah, we get her. Alright.
What's up? Yeah.
Melee, melee, melee. He's 1 HP. There you go. Don't be afraid to even just walk up on top of him here. Watch the health bar. He is currently at 34. Once again, he is like 4 HP off of getting actually finished by melee, but we could melee him twice here, and he's dead, and that goes through, remember, melee goes through shield, right? So, here, just walk up to him, and, you'll be good.
Actually, I
Um,
didn't know that. I didn't know melee went through shit.
all good, now you know.
Okay,
all,
awesome.
all melee attacks, even including like not basic melee goes through shields, but also other melee attacks like Reinhardt's swing and Briggs' flail go through shields as well.
Okay. That's awesome, though.
Yep. Yeah, that's kind of rough. At this point, we only got 3 people here. They're starting to get respawns. Yeah, it's kind of just the regroup phase. That's pretty good idea. Reinhardt fed. Okay, there I think we just wasted a lot of blinks. You can kind of watch this. We go blink. We blink backwards. Um, this one right here is a bit funny. Notice how to escape Reinhardt, we blink backwards away into the charge, and we have to blink a second time. So instead of just blink to the left or the right. So just using a lot of blinks there, or maybe we could be using a bit less. Yep. A lot of playing kind of on the very edge of a range or outside of a range, just remembering that you're going to be doing more damage the closer up you're getting. Even if you're talking about the difference between 10 meters and 20 meters, what's the difference in damage from 10 meters to 20 meters?
It's pretty significant, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're basically doing like 2 times damage at that difference, because it's the difference between 1 clipping and killing someone with half a clip, essentially, right?
All right.
So 10 meters is still even more preferable to 20 meters because you easier tracking. You're also going to be able to, you're not missing as many pellets with spread damage. You're going to be able to not have any fall off damage and accidentally walk past out of your range. Overall, remember, just as that reminder, 20 meters is your cap off range. That's the furthest you can go. But then even 10 meters is more of a preference. 10 meters is your preference. 20 is kind of your cap. So look to play more in your range. And then we're playing more like, in some fights we're playing at like 20 meters. And then in others, sometimes we're getting back even further than that.
Okay. Got you. Oh no. I'm not even looking at him. And I think I tried to flick it too, and yeah, that was just horrible. That was a horrible play.
Yeah, just press the button a bit too early. If we gave it a second to like just adjust to him, we look at him after we throw it. So if we just waited a second, we would have had it. The other thing is potentially, I don't know. Oh,
Yeah.
whoopsie.
Yeah, I had to get out of that.
Aiming up a hair, going for his heads. Good idea to swap to Mercy. Mercy, there you go. Good recall. That was a good recall right there. There's a lot of like, it feels like there's a lot of unnecessary blinks where we'll just like, nobody's looking at us and we're not taking damage and it's not really taking us anywhere in particular. And then we'll just blink and then we'll blink again and we'll blink again. So just maybe be a bit more careful of our blink usage, because it can not only just waste our blinks so that we don't have them for when we need them, but also sometimes even throw off our shots and our aim, put us out of range, that sort of thing. So just be a bit careful.
Gotcha. And I feel like I don't know. I feel like right there, everything was just moving really fast.
Yeah, and that's definitely fair. As the fights happen, it is a lot, and as you play the game more, it'll start to slow down the fights because you are able to track what's happening a bit better. It's like if you ever watch people do, you know, do any sort of thing like aim trainers or beat games, like sometimes you're like, oh my goodness, this guy's moving at 1,000,000 miles an hour. I could never do that. But then as you practice at it, it starts to slow down for you to where to you when you're doing it, it appears as if it's slow, and then to those around you, it could actually appear very, very fast, right? That, or like maybe another example would be like people playing instruments, right? To other people, it might come across as like, what the heck? How the heck can your brain keep up with what you're doing? But then to them, it might they have a different perception on it because it just comes slower. So I don't even know why I'm spending so much time explaining that. But
Good start.
as you keep playing, it'll get slower. It'll be a bit easier to keep track of.
Yeah, we had an emo battle right there. You know, I'm so sick of May. Since they put her back in the game, I'm so sick of her already.
Nice kill. Notice that I think a lot of the time, now this is not always a bad thing. It is actually a lot of times can be a good thing to blink backwards away from danger, but I think we're kind of overusing it when probably what's the easier alternative or another easy alternative to blinking backwards, or let me phrase this in a different way. What is the way in which any character in the game can instantly negate all damage?
Just taking cover.
Taking cover, right? Having something in front of you. And that's maybe something that we could be utilizing a bit more than we are, because instead of using cover, we kind of just blink backwards to get far away from our, who's whatever's damaging us. But you'll start to notice that won't work as well the higher up you go, particularly against characters that have more range. So like, let's say for example the McCree, right? Let's say we'll go up and we'll be, let's ignore the fact that he has flashbang, because of course you can blink to get outside of that range. But let's say we're outside of flashbang range, we're at like 15 meters. Instead of taking cover, what we're doing is we're just blinking straight backwards, which does multiple things. Firstly, it sends us outside of the range we want to be in. Sometimes, not all the time. Sometimes it can send us too far back. And then the other thing is that McCree can still see us, and he can still shoot at us. Blinking backwards doesn't take us out of his line of sight. Same thing if May's shooting icicles at us, right? Or
All right.
Symmetra's shooting turrets at us. And this is definitely going to be a bigger thing with hit scan and longer range characters. So Hanzo, Widow, Ashe, Sojourn, yada yada. But blinking backwards doesn't necessarily mean they can no longer shoot at us, and that seems to be our go-to to negate damage. Now, of course, blinking backwards is the option, the way to go, if you're in need of a speedy, I'm going to dodge a bullet sort of thing. Or if you're getting out of range of a ability or ultimate. So let's say, for example, Ana was shooting sleep or nade at you and you blink out of the way of that, or McCree's firing flashbang at you, or Sigma's trying to flux you, or May's freezing you, feel free to blink backwards. Not an issue. I'm just saying I think that we maybe overutilize it, and it kind of acts as a band-aid over having good positioning. And having good positioning and using cover will actually allow us to stay closer to them longer. All that makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, so look to use cover a bit more and stay close to them a bit more. Stay within our range. Uh-oh. How to watch your abilities. You got all of the abilities there. And then once again, kind of watch some of this movement here where we walk in, we stand still for a second, we walk straight, we blink straight forwards, we're walking straight back once again. So we can kind of like, even if we watch this from third person here, let's maybe analyze this and just watch it. Let's just watch it, right? So pause, walking forwards, blinking forwards, walking straight back, blinking straight forwards, right? So it's very walking backwards, walking forwards, walking back, right? Walking forwards, walking back. Just remember that when you're doing the forward, back, that doesn't actually change anything.
Yeah.
They still see there, if they had their crosshair on you, their crosshair stays on you. So it is something that is really just like essentially useless, and then it can even like throw off your aim a tad bit. So it's kind of just inferior to moving to the sides, right? So more side movement, even with blink 2, consider more side blinks rather than always forward and back blinks. That's just as ideas to throw around.
Okay. Yeah, they changed their team comp too during the round. Their Tracer went Cassidy, their
Mhm,
Doomfist went what's her name? Brig.
mhm,
Their Roadhog went Diva, their Mercy went um Symmetra. Their team
mhm.
comp just went all over the place
Yep.
between rounds.
So that's an important thing to keep track of, right? Okay. Using up about a bunch of our blinks, blinking into a wall, blinking on the point. Um, request healing, get your support to look at you. Okay. Kind of blinking into their team there. Yeah, it just feels like sometimes slow it down a bit because when you go blink, 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 I can barely even keep track of what's going on, and that might even make it harder on yourself because like we're having to readjust every half a second. And
All
sometimes like
right.
if we like slow it down and we go through some of these blinks, well, some of these blinks aren't necessary, right? So we blink over to the side, right? That one's okay, right? But nobody was actually like looking at us when we did that one. This one definitely isn't needed because look how we like blinked a point here, and there's, I mean, like that made us travel like 5 meters, and did that really do anything for us? Didn't dodge any damage. It didn't get us anywhere that we needed to be faster. Um, then we go and we start shooting at stuff, and then we blink this way. That one's okay. I think someone Diva boosted us from behind, so that one was okay. And then we Diva boost that way, and notice how we are gonna blink this way, kind of into their team. Whereas once again, like okay, maybe blinking to the right could have been better, or even like I don't even know if blink is needed at all. We're like kind of inside our team there at that point. I don't know if we need to blink. And then we recall. That recall is good. And then we blink off to the side once again. And then let's see, do we blink again? They start moving towards us, and then we blink away when right. Let's watch that one again.
And I don't know Briggs' range, so when I saw her swing, I was just like, you know what?
Yeah, Briggs
Yeah.
range is further than that. So Briggs range is oof, what is, I think it's like might be 5 meter. I'm not sure if I'm actually sure if I have the number down in my head. I have a feel for it. I don't know. I don't know if I have the number. So let's look at that real
I
quick.
I heard she was like meta in the last game, and now she's stuck or something like that.
Yeah, she wasn't meta near the end of last game, but she when Brig was released, Brig had, I don't know. I don't know if it was a year. It was at least 1 year. It might have even been a year and a half to 2 years where she was hard meta, and they had to nerf her like 14 times before she was before she was not meta. Um, and because that's how busted she was when they first introduced her. And she was one of the core characters within like composition at the time, goats. Um, 6 meters,
Okay.
maybe inching on 7 meters is your range on break there.
Yeah, and then she shoots that thing at you. It has like that Roadhog hook range.
Yeah, her whip shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, whip shot has 20 meters, I believe. So can we hit it from 21 meters? Nope. So you have to be 20 meters for it to hit. And then that is, and then if you jump at the end, that actually gives you more range on that. Let's see. Reinhardt is, think about the same as Briggs there with the swing range. Um, no, actually, that's interesting. I don't know if I knew that Briggs has a longer swing range than Reinhardt. Reinhardt's actually directly 5 meters. So Briggs like 6 to 7, Reinhardt's 5. Interesting. Okay.
Do you have everybody's thing gold? Well, you didn't have Briggs, but you.
Um, I have a lot. I don't have everybody's because I stopped. I For a long while I had stopped playing comp on my main account. I played a lot on alt accounts, so I have like half of them or something. Uh, Doomfist, not Junker Queen. Yes, Orisa, Reinhardt, Roadhog, Sigma. Apparently, Monkey. I think I can't see it, but yeah, I think I have like half of everyone's or so.
Nice.
Oh, where am I going? I'm going back to the game. That's what I'm doing.
Traveling to ready for battle.
Didn't played on my main. account, I probably would have had them all by now, but I
Ready for battle.
stopped for a long while.
Yeah.
Oh, where am I? Okay, we're going
We're in
all
the
the way.
beginning. Yeah. Oh yeah, I called my ultimate out. I heard that.
Is this? Yeah, okay, here we are.
Yeah, cool.
So, we blink out of the way. Now that in that situation we did step into the range. Which one that's something to watch out for. We stepped closer to her. The other thing is that look at her health bar. What does Brig have to do to swing at you?
Press the button.
Yeah, and then what does that mean she can't do?
Heal? I don't know.
Means she can't shield,
Oh yeah.
right? Same thing as Reinhardt, right? She can't shield if she's swinging. And what's her health? She's low. So if she tries to hit you, she dead, right? Same thing
All
as the
right.
Reinhardt earlier. So just watch your health bar here, because there wasn't really a need to TP, and then that once again, like if you're not TPing every second when it's not necessary, that might simplify it down a bit, make it easier to keep track of what's going on.
Back we go. Time to drop the bomb.
Okay, notice how instead of pushing up, oh, so we try to push up on top of her.
We just weren't
She,
aiming at her.
yeah, So I'd put some more effort into making sure those are connecting. Put more focus on it.
Time to drop
Let's
the
see.
bomb.
And then, yeah, we just gotta pay attention to where she's moving. Aim ahead of where she's moving. Make sure we're aiming on top of her. Don't flick it. That sort of thing.
Gotcha.
There she goes.
Fortunately, they like to sit on top of it.
Back to the pump.
Oh, I wanted her
Yeah.
so bad. I got greedy.
Yup.
I wanted it so bad.
Right back up again. Ha-ha.
Oh, there goes that triple blink thing you were talking about.
Yeah, which that's perfectly fine on when you're defending. You know, when we're coming back from spawn.
How about a second chance?
Go kill.
To ride into the sunset. Barrier down. Just that. Blinded.
I tried to stop her from getting the health back.
I like that we pushed that there. That was good. Head level, right? But I like that we're trying to finish her off before she remax. That's a great thing to be doing. Just look at where we're at right now. Easy headshots because she's standing still too when she's recalling that.
You make an excellent colleague. Inevitable, as all things are.
Uh oh, what do you see when we do go for it?
An excellent colleague.
Oh,
Keep your eyes on the pulse bomb here.
okay.
Thought of you.
Wait, do it one more time. I'm sorry. I need to see it one more time.
Inevitable, as all things are.
Thought of you.
Yeah, I wasn't aiming, and I see the ult.
Yeah, I think you still would have killed her through ultimate, because it hasn't charged up yet on her. But the main thing there is that we flick it, right? We're aiming right at her, or we blink in, and if we throw it right here, that hits her, right? 'Cause she's gonna walk into it. But then watch, we go flick, and then we throw it off to the right,
Thought of you.
right? Notice how that's a really snap movement. So we gotta be careful of flicking off of people. Oh, watch your health bar there. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Look at Sim's health bar.
Oh,
Yep, that's a chase her and go after her. So make sure we're paying attention to that. Oh, there we got her anyways.
Sorry.
We don't have recall yet. Oh, wait. So, so we didn't have recall there. What could we have done?
Got a health pack.
Yeah. Good
I think that's what I
idea.
was going for. I was gonna go get that health pack. I think. I don't know. I could have been wrong. I could have just died.
Yeah. So we blink over here. And then the problem is that then we blink back on the point. So instead of backing up and grabbing this health pack or running over here and grabbing this health pack, this health pack probably would have been best, right? But look, we blink back onto point.
Yeah.
So you gotta be careful about that one. And we did. All right, so there we go.
Yeah. Because we saw that coming. Yeah.
10 seconds.
Oh, almost good. Almost got her.
Who's on fire?
No. Summer's hacking you. What are 2 ways that we can stop hack from hacking us?
Hit
As
her
Tracer.
or recall. Hit her or recall.
Hit her. We don't have recall available,
Oh,
but yes, you are correct. You can hit her. You can recall. You can do. I'd say 2 more things on top of that.
take cover,
Take cover. Yep. Mm-hmm.
and then I can blink out of the range, right?
Yeah, blink or even just if you blink to the side. I think so. Like I said before, blink will cancel, especially if you blink around a corner. That will do it. If you blink out of range, if you blink, I think if it's like, I think it usually will go through if it's at like the end of her hack. That it'll go. So the faster react, I think the less likely it will be that blink cancels it. Or sorry, the more likely it'll be that blink cancels it. So that's things to consider, but blink can cancel it. I think it kind of depends and it can get a bit buggy sometimes. So that's all things that can help stop that there.
Oh, he got me. I didn't even know he was there though until he turned the corner, and he just turned the corner and just headshotted me. And this was kind of like an ego play. I was like, I'm getting mine back.
Nice roll off the map. When you're shooting at people, this is something else I'm noticing. Don't be afraid to tap a bit more. I feel like every time we go and we start shooting at someone, we feel the need to empty our entire clip. Right? So we go in and notice how we go in and we're shooting at McCree and we go shot and then what he runs around the corner, we pause for a second, we save the we save half our ammo, we blink in, and then when we blink in, then we have the other half when we blink in, right? That's and we have a better angle on him, right? So that's an idea right there, right? Then we shoot again, and then we kind of like shoot the second half into the box there. Maybe when you are off of him, you can pause to readjust onto him. Here we use the whole thing and we kind of send it into the wall a little bit. So I feel like that applies sometimes here where like feel free to pause and readjust and then keep shooting, even if it's just like half a second. But you don't have to hold down through the whole clip every time. And that gets back to what we were talking about before, like in Kiriko's ult, not just holding it down when we're not looking at people and that sort of thing. And the better you get at her, you probably won't need to do that as much, but it's definitely better than just emptying the whole clip into nothing. Like for example, like here, we're trying to we immediately start holding down the button as we're trying to go up to the brig, so that by the time we've reached brig here, we're already halfway down our clip. Right?
All right.
I saw that. Not bad.
Got him. Okay, so What is the problem for there's two problems here. What is the problem with the usage here? Not the we'll get to the timing in a moment, but what's the problem with the usage here?
It just wasn't a good usage.
Yeah.
One,
We
two, and then I blink in and try and trade bombs with them, and I missed
why do we miss?
because I wasn't even looking at them.
Yeah, not looking at him. We aren't close to him as well. We're throwing it from back here. Maybe one more blink up on top of him here works a bit better, right? So too far away, not looking at him, not paying attention to which direction he's walking, and then also flicking. Right? Notice how once again we're aiming right at him. We're looking right on top of him, right? And we're on him, and then we flick to the right.
So should I not flick at all? Like, does that make sense?
Well,
Because if that's the case, I can go back in and fix my settings because I turned my aim smoothing down so that way I could
mhm.
flick. Because I was like, maybe it'd be a good idea if I could, you know, because I did that for my pulse bombs.
Yeah. Well, remember what we talked about before. What if McCree, like, what if you are looking at McCree, right? Imagine you're looking at directly on top of McCree, and then he rolls, and then, sorry, let's say, so sorry, I'm restarting here. You look directly on top of McCree, you press pulse bomb, and then he rolls.
It won't kill him.
It won't kill him. Or you can try to flick after him because Pulse Bomb has a cast time, right? You press the button and then bomb gets thrown out, right? And that takes, half a second. So you could potentially see him roll and flick to the side and try to catch up to him with it, right? Same thing, for example, if you're trying to pulse a Mercy and then let's say Mercy starts flying away. Well, you can look to the side to track her. Or let's say you didn't pulse yet. Let's say that that there is a Mercy flying past you. Do you necessarily just say, okay, I'm not pulsing? Or what if you need to pulse, right? Like then in that situation, once again, flicking is necessary because of the high movement speed or because of the because of the high, that's going to be usually the one. Or if people are behind, but usually you don't want to like do a flick, do a 180 pulse bomb. Usually that's not the best idea. Or if you're acquiring a new target, that can be another thing. But you are correct. Not often will you be flicking pulse bomb. Not frequently. It's less frequent will you be flicking pulse bomb. Usually flicking is better for other abilities because most of the time when you're using pulse bomb, you want to be right up on top of somebody anyways, which means you're aiming straight at them.
Okay, so should I fix my settings then? Because I just it was just my aim smoothing that I messed with.
Yeah. You could try turning it back. You could want like you could want high speed and being able to do turns easily. That could be something that could be handy, like so that you're not kind of doing this like really slow pan, but you're able, and that can help. For example, if you're like blinking around people, that can help keep up with them. But you definitely don't need that for pulse bomb usage specifically.
I got you.
And then the other timing when we do use it here. What's up with the timing of the pulse bomb?
It was horrible. It was horrible.
Well, more specifically, what was horrible about it?
Because it's basically their team's not even together. Their Diva is trying to basically fight our whole team, so she's trying to stagger, um, or she's basically staggering. The rest of their team isn't even there. Um, yeah, I could have stuck there, and then we could have just 5v1 the Diva, and that would have just started them staggering because the next Cassidy would have came and we would have killed Cassidy. Um, Sombra, I don't know what Sombra's been doing this game. She's hacked me like once or twice, maybe. She's kind of just been running around. So I was not worried about her. She's not
So
too much of a threat in this game.
yeah, the
Like
problem
in
is
this game particular, at least.
yeah, she hasn't been doing too much. The problem is that we're using it when we've already essentially won this fight. Right?
Yeah.
So therefore, it's not really needed at all. Oh, see, we just blinked out of
Sombra.
Sombra there. Oh, actually, It looks like she canceled it before we even blinked. I don't know what she was doing, but she stopped hacking us.
No vaya a ser que lo necesite.
She starts hacking you.
Seconds
¿Qué onda?
Oh, someone shot at her. There we go. So, but Blink would have also canceled it, most likely, unless it bugged. Sometimes it'll track you like through the wall, and it's stupid. Like that. So that, for
Yeah,
example, will track you through, and that's because the hack came through at like we blinked at the like very last second. Gotta be a bit careful. We're also going in with no abilities here, right? Look at health. Look at your abilities. Look at your and whatnot. And we're blinking and we don't have anything. Last, I don't think we did, and we have plenty of time still to go over it. Last time we didn't go over aggression scaling, did we?
no, actually, I don't think so. Actually, I
No.
don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
don't know what that is.
aggression scaling is I would assume that you've heard the word aggression before. Most people
Yeah,
have. Aggression, right? When should you go in? When should you back out? Right? That sort of thing. When do you play passive? When do you play aggressive? And the aggression scaling is applying aggression. It's using a tool to think through how you should be doing that and when should you push, when should you back, right? So it's a handy tool that will help you to identify that. So aggression scaling, you want to think of your aggression as if it were on a scale, and you have a slider on that scale, and 0% is your super passive, 100% is super aggressive, and 50% is your kind of neutral, right? That's where you usually start out. So every single fight you come in, and unless something's already happened, you start out at 50% on the slider. Then,
all right,
as you get advantages and opportunities, you are going to go up the slider. And as you get disadvantages and a lack of resources and sorry, I'm missing one. Last one's danger, right? And when you're in danger, then you're going to go down the slider. So that means let's define a couple of those advantages and disadvantages. We've already talked a ton about, right? We've talked about kill feed. That's advantages and disadvantages, right? So let's say you're up a person. That's an advantage. You go up from 50 to 60. You're up 2 people, go from 60 to 70. You're up 3 people, go from 70 to 80, and so forth. Same thing the opposite direction. You're down a person, you go from 50 to 40. You're down 2 people, you go from 40 to 30. Right? You're going up and down the scale with that. Those other advantages and disadvantages will also impact the scale. Opportunities are going to be things like you see that person's 1 HP, that person's out of position. You have pulse bomb, etc. Those are opportunities, and I think we talked about this last time. But as Tracer, you're playing as an opportunist, right?
all
And
right,
these opportunities will slide you up the scale. Now you also go down the scale with a lack of resources. So Tracer, your resources, and on other characters, this is something that will apply on like all the characters. Your health bar, right? If you got health, you can be aggressive. If you don't, you can't. So you need to go down the slider. If you're at 1 HP, you usually most of the time want to be like, 10% on the slider. You want to be really low, really
gotcha.
passive. Abilities, same thing. They act as because you are not going to be able to play aggressive because you're just going to die if you're blinking in without any, and you have nothing left, right? So you can't play aggressive if you don't have it. And then finally, you have danger. Danger. Are you low? Are you being shot at? Are you people using abilities and ultimates against you? That sort of thing, right? That also pulls it down. A couple things to note within this. Note that it's very fluctuant and fluent. Don't feel like you might, but don't feel like you're always going to come into a fight and then hard lock on 100% for the next 20 seconds. That's not usually how it works. You might come into a fight and be at 50 and then see, oh, that person's 1 HP. So you blink in to go shoot at the person and you're at 100% aggression, and then you get headshot on your 1 HP. So now you have to recall and get out and go back to 0%. And that all happened within the course of a second. So you went from 50 to 100 to 0 within a second. So it's very fluent. And, once again, this seems like a lot, but as you keep playing and as you practice it and as you think through it, it'll simplify itself to where this is something that I kind of internally do. I don't even need to think through the numbers because this is a tool that's so ingrained at this point, like within me, that it just comes naturally. So you can make those snap decisions of seeing we're up 2 people or down a person. You know, where I have half my abilities, I have 3/4 of my health bar. I have this many people looking at me. I should therefore be at this percent aggression. You know, I should be playing passive right now, right? That sort of thing, right? So it will come much faster as you practice and try to put it into application and whatnot. All that makes sense. Any questions on that?
Yeah, no, I got you. Yeah, for sure.
Gotcha. So right here, right now, snapshot. Right, this is usually handy when you're going through the replay. Take a snapshot and think, okay, right now, what should our aggression be?
Very passive because I don't have any abilities and I only have one blink, and that blink really should be used to escape.
Yeah.
So honestly, I could wait till I get a second blink
Mhm.
to I could wait till I get a second blink. Nobody even knows I'm there, so I could be able to kind of like walk out the side, and then by the time I am engaging, my third blink will be there. Or even if I have to use one, I'll use one and still have 2 blinks
Mhm.
because it'll
So
come back.
so if you were just like to put a number on it right now, like what roughly speaking, what are we at right now?
I don't know. Tell me if I'm wrong. But I'm saying maybe like we could be like 20%. You think?
Yeah, no, that's about fine. Yeah. Like it's not where you are instantly like, okay, I am standing still and I am not, I'm completely out of the fight. Maybe if somebody can, if somebody was low, we could peek and shoot at them because we have cover and we have a little tiny bit of HP and we have one blink, right? So we have a bit to work with if we saw an opportunity to do something. But yeah, like we're within the range of like 0 to 20, right?
Got you.
So here, let's watch it. What range is what number on the scale would this be?
I need to get away. Really, I don't need to be there. I don't know why I
Yeah.
engaged in the. You know what though? I think I what's it called? Got a little bit too comfortable because I'm like, okay, these guys kind of suck. Like we are kind of, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
to be honest, I was just like, you know what? This game's about to be over. I'm about to try and do as much damage as possible. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I think I just kind of got a little complacent.
Yeah. And it's usually a good idea not to be just so that you can keep practicing and stuff like that, And so you don't die and throw the game on accident. That
Yeah,
wouldn't
no,
that
for
wouldn't be
sure.
very good either.
For sure. That would have been horrible if that would have happened. If I
Mhm.
would have died right there, then they pushed to the checkpoint and yeah, no, that would have been horrible.
Yeah. So
They would have
there
been like damage diff.
yeah. Mhm. So there
Damage
like
diff
we
in the
we went
chat.
up to like, 80% when we should have been at, at 20.
Right. Gotcha. I'm a little far away.
Uh-oh.
I don't know what that Sombra was doing, but she just ran in a straight line.
Yep. And notice how fast she got shredded. and that's what we
Yeah.
do a lot of the time. Notice here when we blink away from the fire strike, instead of just going to the right and then continuing to shoot at Reinhardt, we blink straight backwards into the fire strike.
Yeah,
And
I
then
got scared that I was gonna blink off the cliff.
oh yeah, we weren't close enough for that at any point. Like yeah, we had like if you blink to the right here, look at your angle. You'd be like if you blink to the right here when Reinhardt's looking at you and fire striking at you, you'd be going like here,
Okay,
roughly speaking. So yeah, you were fine.
gotcha. And then I had to use my recall. Yeah, I didn't know where he was at, so I just ducked behind anything.
Hold on!
All right, so sorry, I'm going around a ton here. So we get out. I think that this may have been a mistake to recall back in because we do have like Kiriko right behind us there, who's about to heal us up. And that possibly could have been better than recalling back into the fray when we don't have any abilities. Yeah. And then now we're just kind of stuck on top of them.
Yeah.
Apagando las luces.
Health
I saw
pack.
the health pack. Yeah, I
Yep.
saw it. I don't know. It's crazy when you watch the videos too, and then you're like, oh wow, I could have, like, what are you doing? You know what I mean?
Yep. 100%. All right. We have a bit of extra time here. Do you like have any topics or questions or anything?
Um, yeah. Do you think? Yeah. What would you say? Like, you know what I mean? I'm sure you're gonna leave notes. You know what I mean? So I'll be able to go over those notes. You know what I mean? Um, yeah. Would you say that I've got better since our first encounter?
Yeah, 100%. Like I think there's definitely a lot of improvement. And like you said as well, like that it speaks for itself if you're climbing from were you bronze 5 before or bronze
Yeah.
yeah. So bronze 5 to silver 1 is almost 2 whole ranks, right? It's almost right. It's like it's just a tad bit below that. So that's definitely speaks for itself in terms of improvement. But yeah, it definitely seems much more fluid than last time. Though of course there's still a lot of room to improve from silver, right?
Right, because yeah, I'm definitely like stuck in silver one now, and I
Mhm.
don't understand how the rank works. Like, is it based off of wins? Is it based off of stats? Is it based off
Both.
consistency?
Both. It'll depend off of wins in that like if you go 7 and 7, you're probably going to be about the same. But then it might be stats also have an impact on it from my understanding, to where if you're playing really good, you might if you go 7 and 7, maybe you'll be up your MMR will be up a bit higher because remember now it's MMR based. That's kind of you don't see an actual number, it's your hidden skill rating, and your hidden skill rating isn't just affected by your wins and losses, it's also affected by your character's performance and stats in comparison to other people playing at the same rank as you. So you as Tracer versus other silver Tracers, are your stats better or worse than them, right? And that's
Okay.
going to be something it's comparing. But that's not going to have
Oh.
yeah, though don't go and try to just like stat farm. Don't be like, "Oh, I'm just going to like farm tanks the whole game," because that's not going to get you anywhere. It's not significant enough to where it's bigger than wins or losses. You're not going to like, if you go 7 and 7, you're still going to be neutral for the most part. Maybe if you did really good, you'd be slightly higher, but it's not going to rank you up if you go 7 and 7, right?
Okay, because it got really confusing for me because I met this guy on here playing one day. We was just playing ranked together. Like we was just playing. We was on the same team, right?
Mhm.
And he was playing tank, and I was playing tracer. You know what I mean? And I was just
Mhm.
like, bro, your Roadhog is absolutely insane. And then he was just like the same thing about my Tracer, and I think we both had like 30 or something. So we stayed as a team. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
The next game, the rest of our team did kind of bad, but me and him carried. I think we both had like 50 or something like that.
Ooh,
And he was
nice.
playing as Ryan. You know what I mean? And so, we just decided to leave the team, and then just me and him ran, and we just kind of looked for new people. And
Mhm.
we just went on a really long winning streak, and we never even teamed up with anybody else. It was just us,
Mhm.
and very consistently, you know what I mean, both having really
Yeah.
good games. Right? He was he was silver, he was
Mhm.
silver too, and he went from silver from us playing together because we played over like the
Mhm.
course of the next couple of days. I stayed in silver, and he went from silver to gold, and then gold to plat. And then I
Yeah.
wasn't able to play with him because he went plat. But we were having the same consistency and the same kind of
Yeah.
games, and we're basically right around the same numbers. And you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
he went to plat, and I think he's like plat one, about to be like diamond,
Yeah.
and
It
I'm
could
still
be
stuck in
in
silver.
could be a number of things of like did you play any games at all without him? Maybe before you guys started doing stuff you were already on a minor loss streak, and maybe he was on a win streak before you guys met up with each other. It could be things like maybe his stats in comparison to the other players around him were might like a bit better than yours were. It could be, like things of that nature, could affect it. Like the other thing to consider is like, one mini rank is roughly speaking equivalent to like maybe about like 4 games, right? So like from silver 2 to silver 1, that's maybe like 4 wins, right? Roughly speaking. So you could have potentially, like, let's say that you were down 4 wins and he was up 4 wins. Well, then that means that he's gonna be like 2 entire mini ranks ahead of you before you guys are even starting, essentially.
Mm,
Um,
okay.
that's things to think about. And then once again it gets even more confusing because it's not displayed; it's all in the background.
Yeah. Yeah, and it just sucks because like when we do play together, man, we don't lose. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's like that one person you just need. I don't know. Maybe it's just the like synergy. I guess you know what I
yeah,
mean. Like when I play Tracer and he plays any kind of tank, you know what I mean.
yeah,
We just dominate. Like it's basically we just roll them. Even if like the rest of our team is trash, me and him together can just roll them.
yeah.
Especially because he'll play somebody and he'll kind of get like right up in there and they'll get distracted. And I don't know how he's so good at staying alive because he can like jump right in the middle. And everybody will try and like focus the tank, obviously, but he'll stay alive. And then I'll just start picking him off because everybody's trying to focus him, and I'll just quickly start zipping around and picking people off
Yep.
while he's getting picks. You know what I mean?
Definitely more enjoyable when you have someone who's playing well, right?
Yeah, no, for sure.
Delivery.
Um, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it just sucks. It just sucks because now we can't play together. You know what I mean? Now he's
Yep.
about to be diamond, so even once I hit gold, he'll probably hit diamond, and then yeah,
Well,
it's
just
a
gotta
lost cause now.
get a bit better. You know what? Yeah, just go on a
Yeah,
bit of a streak yourself. I mean, you're playing
yeah,
enough. Like if you like, you'd be able to do it if you hit like a bit of a learning burst here.
right. Okay,
So
I got you.
it's doable. Go ahead, hit Diamond Man.
Yeah, and it was crazy too because like there was one game we played, man, and it was so
So much
close.
for that
And
compliment.
obviously like I think it was in overtime, and I had spawned, and like at this point we just need to touch the point. You know what I mean? And I'm Tracer,
Mm.
and I know I'm gonna die. You know what I mean? Because I'm gonna touch the point, and it's gonna be a 1v5. I jump in, I pulse bomb, and there's like three squishies together, so I get a triple kill, and he's like, "Oh, you're nasty." And then my team makes it to the point, and we clutch the game. I died, but we made it to the point, and we clutched the game. It was so insane, and I didn't. Yeah, I wish I would have saved it.
Yep. I mean, that's definitely good ones to save, right?
Yeah, it was so insane, and that was probably like the best pulse bomb I've ever got. I seen the point, I just blinked twice and stuck like the closest person I could get to.
Blink, smack,
Well,
hit.
glad that went well for you.
Yeah,
All right. You ready to start? Let's do the like wrap up review and go over the main points and whatnot.
yeah, no, for
Um,
sure.
let's do that. Let's see. Ability usage. Watch like just blinking a ton when it's not needed. Kind of a lot of the same stuff as last time with that. It's just like, watch blink to the left, blink to the right when it's not needed. Watch blink in the recalls.
Let's try something else.
Watch blinking into the walls. Um, Blink back from spawn, right? You did that. You're kind of like half and half on that. Like for some reason we did it on defense, but not on offense. So do it on both. Blink back from spawn to get back faster.
Second chance.
Um,
Yeah, I feel like I'm
recall.
trying to play differently when I'm
Yeah,
on offense versus defense. I don't know
mhm.
why, or it feels different when you know what I mean?
Nice try.
Yeah, and it is minorly different. It just shouldn't like be like incredibly major playstyle shifts. Usually it's a bit more minor in how it affects how you're playing.
Double kill.
Got you.
Recall, make sure that you are not wasting it, right? Use it when you are in danger. We use it often when we were in danger and we weren't low and there's just really nothing going on, right? So pay attention to your situation and when you need to use it. And then sometimes once in a while we die when we had like all of our abilities up, so watch out for that as well.
Blimey, that's
Blink,
good.
don't always just blink backwards because that can send you out. Like if we're blinking backwards, that can send us outside of our preference range. and then also just using cover can be better, or potentially blink to the side so you're not going outside of your range, that sort of thing, or you're not blinking. Like if we're here and we blink backwards, well then whatever they're doing and shooting at us, they're still hitting at us, right? So
Right.
just be careful about that. Overall abilities, probably about a medium priority for you to work on. Then comes pulse usage. Pulse usage, make sure we're getting into connect. Um, don't, yeah, try to get in as close as possible, right? Blink, get up right on top of them. Don't randomly flick with it. Make sure that we are thinking about, like, where are they moving? Are they moving left? Are they moving right? And leading it. So if they're moving to the left, aim this way, right? If they're moving to the right, aim that way. Make sure we're just preparing for that. And then also make sure we're just looking in their general direction, right?
Gotcha.
Overall, ability scheme a bit higher than ult usage, but they're pretty similar. Um, or or they're a bit even, honestly. And then also make sure you're not ulting in won or lost fights, right? That sort of thing. They're about even-ish. So that one also goes to about a medium. Then comes your mechanics. Think about crosshair placement, aim at head level. Make sure that you are. Let's see what else is there within mechanics. Don't hold down shoot button right when you're not aiming at people, especially in Kirikul. Potentially tap, so go, like, if we go tap 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 and then we like blink out of range, well, okay, well then you can either reload or you can just save it. So let's say we go, let's think of a scenario like this. Let's say that we're shooting at this guy and then he runs around the corner from us. Would I just finish off the clip there, or just peek with the rest of the clip, right? Pause and peek, and that sort of thing. It's just an example of, there might be sometimes where there's an interruption, and just pause for a second to get back on. Or like, what if we're like shooting at them, and then like something happens and our crosser's like all the way over here, right? Would we now continue to shoot and empty our whole clip into the wall, or do we shoot, pause, and then readjust, right? That sort of thing. So just don't keep holding it. I don't know if there's like too much. Oh, pay attention to enemy health bars. Melee to finish off kills. Does 30 damage. Goes through shields. It's a very easy finisher. I think that's about it. Overall mechanics probably goes to like lower end of a medium, something like that. Then comes your positioning. Make sure you're using cover. Good positioning is use your cover. Bad positioning is the absence of cover. I think a lot of times we weren't really doing that too well. Make sure we're taking high grounds. Take the shortest route possible back from spawn. So if point is right here and spawn can just go directly to point, why would I go all the way around this way, right?
Right.
Make sure that as your think about your range. This was a big one. 20 meters is kind of your cap off range. Past 20 meters, you're doing really nothing. So make sure you're not stepping without that. But then even then, 10 meters is the difference between killing somebody with, half of your clip. So let's see, we can kill someone from 10 meters with 18 bullets left versus from 20 meters where we're killing somebody with maybe even not killing them, right? So that's
Right.
You're keeping half. You're basically killing them twice as fast from up here, right?
All right.
So keep in that side of their range. Don't blink outside of it. Use cover. Approach so that you can play from that range. Don't like come from the no man's land if you have another option. Overall, that one was probably a bit higher. That one was like a either higher end of a medium or lower end of a medium high, somewhere between that. Then comes awareness. Pay attention to your surroundings. What's your health bar? And I guess we'll do like awareness kind of, and then a minor / aggression, because they're interconnected. So pay attention to your health bar. Request healing. Make sure you're paying attention to the enemy's health bar, so we know when to go in and get on top of them. Make sure you're paying attention to which abilities do we have. make sure you're paying attention to the kill feed, who's up, who's down, what are the other advantages and disadvantages in the fight. Keep your eyes, ears open, watch the Sombra, etc., etc. Pay attention to team comp, press tab at minimum once between every single fight, and then adjust aggression off of that, right? Aggression, think of it as a scale. 0% super passive, 100% super aggressive, 50% neutral, come in every fight at 50, adjust upwards with advantages and opportunities, and adjust downwards with disadvantages, lack of resources, and then danger, right? And
Gotcha.
then that all go, and then, yeah, awareness/aggression. That one, probably around the same as positioning. So to put that all in order, number one, I think I'm gonna put at positioning, because hopefully I think that might be a bit, awareness and slash aggression, that was a bit more broad than positioning, whereas positioning, the main two things were just cover and range, right? So hopefully
Gotcha.
that's a bit more simplistic to work on in application. So awareness number one, or sorry, positioning number one, awareness slash aggression number two, then three comes to your, these are very close once again. Let's say, I guess, remember ult usage you can probably kind of work on the same time as those other ones. So we can say maybe ult usage comes next, and then ability usage number 4, and then number 5 coming at your mechanics, with still some stuff to work on, just not as much. Any questions?
No, I feel like I feel like my mechanics got better as that game went on, if that makes sense. Like I don't know, or maybe they got worse. I feel like the aiming got a
Yeah.
little bit better as it went on
Yeah,
compared to like from the beginning, but it
for
still
sure.
could have been better, of course.
For sure, for sure. And yeah, and the general aim was, not perfect, but also not the worst part of your gameplay.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I feel like I'm getting better. You know what I mean? For sure. And that's why
Gotcha.
I was, you know what I mean, glad to have this session because I'm like I'm stuck
Mm-hmm.
at silver one, so something clearly, just you know what I mean. I'm not doing something.
Yeah.
I'm missing something. And that something was actually a lot of things. You know what I mean? So
It's always a lot of things. Even for even for pro players, it's probably gonna be a lot of things. Yeah. So always
yeah,
more to work on.
yeah, for sure. And I'm gonna take your advice on that. I'm just gonna play Tracer. I think if I was gonna want to play anybody else, anyways, it would just be Bab. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and maybe I'll just do that once I actually fully master Tracer.
Gotcha. All right. Well,
Um.
go ahead.
Oh yeah, my bad. Yeah, I did
Okay.
my role queue placement for support, and it was crazy because I went from bronze 5 to silver 1 to just place like silver 2 after my placements in support.
Nice.
Yeah, and I don't even know how. I was actually I was kind of salty because I'm like I play with Tracer for I've been playing with Tracer basically since I started playing this game, and I just don't even play support like that, and I just get on there and just play silver 2, and I was like, okay. And I don't really, you know what I mean, play
Yeah.
support.
Well, that also just means that your overall entire gameplay is getting better, because remember, there's transferable things between the roles. So it just means that overall your skill is better, and possibly like minorly above, like for your DPS might be minorly above silver. It's just you need to be even better to be able to climb, right? It's like for example, if let's say your skill is really gold 5, right?
Yeah,
Unless you're gold 1, you'd only really slowly get to gold 5 unless you're hard carrying, and at that point then you can climb. So you have to be significantly higher to climb, or else it's going to be a really slow climb, right?
gotcha.
Yep.
Okay, gotcha. That makes sense though. That does make sense. And
Yeah.
I placed like silver 4 for roll Q damage.
Hmm. Yeah.
But in my defense though, when I first started playing it, before I like got really into open queue, I played a couple like just damage games and just got rolled on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then I went back and I was like, okay, now I can play with Tracer. So you know what I mean? Then just one and I play silver for it.
Gotcha. Alrighty. Recording is stopped.